Now, as far as supergroups go, I will say, off the top of my head now, probably one of the better supergroup like albums put out in that era.
Hey, Paul here from Paul Lydell's Scream Therapy, and you are watching the Krash Kourse Metal Show with Trevor Crash Knight.
What is going on, guys? We are doing a Krash Kourse album review here today, and that is going to be 1992's Heavy Bones self-titled album. So where exactly do we start with Heavy Bones' debut album and actually only album? Sad to say about that because this is a really good album here. 1992. I wouldn't. They are in that hair metal subgenre. They get lumped into that, but I think this album gives a little bit more than just your typical hair metal. Now, I will say at the time, 1992, hair metal was certainly shown growth as far as, the bands from the late 80s and even bands putting out their debuts in the early 90s. They had a bluesiness to them. They had a growth. They had a sleazier side of things. It wasn't so bubble gummy. Now, there were some, yes, that were like that still. But overall, I think it was a maturing subgenre. But like I said, 1992, we know that grunge came in 1991-ish and just totally turned everything up on its head and destroyed the subgenre, basically. So, but we don't have to go on that tangent. But let's talk about a little bit about this album because this is an album that severely gets overlooked. I did this album in a Forgotten Album series episode that I have, and I will put the link or a little card right here. And yeah, if you guys want to check that out, you're more than welcome to. But after this review, though, we're going to go pretty in depth here with this album. So first and foremost, you do have Joel Ellis vocals, and obviously formerly of Cats and Boots, as you can see behind me here. Their first and only album. Then you got Gary Hoey on guitars as well. Great guitarist in his own right. Then you got Rex Tennyson on bass, and then you got the great Frankie Banali on drums, obviously from Quiet Riot. And now some people will say a supergroup. Okay, yeah, maybe just short of a supergroup, because I'm not actually sure where Rex came from, if he came from anywhere, as far as like a band but everyone else though was pretty well known for the most part and had a resume. So, but now as far as supergroups go, I will say off the top of my head now, probably one of the better supergroup like albums put out in that era. The only one I can think of that might come close is Shadow King, if anyone remembers Shadow King and Lou Gramm from Foreigner. He put out an album with like Vivian Campbell and a couple other guys in the band. I would kind of consider that somewhat of a supergroup with the other two guys that they had in the band. And the record company kind of said, hey, if this album does well, we'll never have a Foreigner reunion, basically. So they kind of just like never pushed the album, didn't put it out in any of the stores to be sold or anything, and it just flopped, obviously, then. And, that kind of reminds me of a story that I heard from Joel as well in an interview that he had. He basically said with this album cover here that no one in the band really agreed to this. They didn't really know about it. It just kind of went out and it just got published and put on the album without their knowledge. And then when they seen it, it was too late, because they aren't fans of this album cover. And I don't know, I'm kind of impartial to it because I like the album cover. I think it's cool. It's distinct. It gives it's a different look, certainly. I mean, are there better ones? Sure. But I like this. I don't know if it's because, like, I was born in 1992, actually, when this came out. So, like, I grew up in the 90s, and I remember seeing, like, similar shit in color styles to this. So, I don't know. Maybe that's just me saying, hey, I mean, that kind of, like, nostalgic to me. But I can understand why people think that's like a piece of shit artwork. So, but no, I like it. That actually kind of one of the reasons why I did like this album. But I will say though too, like when I was young in high school, early days of YouTube, I was just looking around at different metal bands and hair metal bands, and this 4 TM came up, the music video, and I was like, this shit's awesome. I need to find a copy. And even back then, like I could find hair metal stuff like pretty cheap on eBay and stuff, but this was still expensive for me, like well over like $30. And now as a kid in high school, I'm not spending $30 for a CD, really, no matter who it is. And because like at that time, I could buy like 5, CDs around this same time, from the hair metal genre, for like $5 each. What do you think a high school kid's gonna do? He's gonna buy 1 album or buy 5? So that's kind of my thought behind that. But this is produced by Richie Zito, and it's an amazing album. So let's jump in here real quick. You got 12 tracks total, and I'm not usually the biggest fan of 12 tracks. Usually it's too long, it's hard to keep someone's attention for 12 tracks, but I think this is pretty good as far as, because I think you got track number 7 here is like a somewhat of an intro, like it's not really an actual full track. So when you think of it like that, 11 full tracks. But nonetheless, you got to start off with Hand That Feeds. Good. I will say the Hand That Feeds and the final track, Where the Living Is Easy, I could totally see Cats and Boots singing or doing this song. Joel Ellis really has like a Cat and Boots style delivery, like what he did a lot on Kicked and Clawed. He does on these 2 songs. And now going to track number 2 is the single 4 TM. Very cool. And if you want to know kind of the meaning behind 4 TM, click the link right here, because we did interview Joel Ellis about, I guess, maybe a couple months ago now. And yeah, more than welcome, guys. Check that out. He told us a lot of stories that I never heard of before, and they're pretty cool. Check it out. I'll also put it in the description if you want to check it out after this video as well. So going on here, track number 3, we got Turn It On. One of the better ballads of this era. For me, anyway. I will certainly say a top 20, at least, hair metal ballad. Metal ballad. I know some people don't like the term hair metal, but that's just one of the terms I use just because it's easier. Most people will know what I'm talking about. And that's just what everyone throws at him, these bands in. So, because you got a little bit different from glam, you got a little bit different from sleaze, you got a little bit different from, that kind of stuff, AR. So, just to make it easier to say hair metal. That's what we're talking here. But, Turn It On, great ballad. Now you can move on here to Anna, track number 4, which when I was listening to this again, I was kind of like, this is interesting to put 2 kind of, I don't think I necessarily consider Anna a ballad, but it is mid to slow tempo, acoustic style, but I love it though. But it is interesting to put like 2 of those style tracks, style songs back to back. But those 2 songs, Turn It On and Anna, are 2 of the best songs on the album, and just great, amazing songs in general. So I'll give it a pass. It works because they're just that great of songs. It doesn't necessarily fuck up the flow of the album, if you will. And then you got Dead End Street. Very cool. Joel Ellis has I like these songs. Each of these songs kind of do have their own personality, which is why I really dig this album. Gary does his shredding. Gary has good riffs throughout this album. Frankie's doing his thing. What we all knew and love Frankie for. Everything sounds good, and it's not overproduced. The album isn't overproduced. Uh, Everyone's doing their own thing very, very well. No one's really overtaking one or the other, but each one, and it's not like technical or progressive where everyone's doing their own thing at the same time all the time, and it's great. It's not overbearing or anything, but like you can tell each band member is like on point, doing what they need to do, doing the perfect thing for the song. And these songs, just the first side is really, really good, and then you finish off the first side of track number 6 where Eagles Fly. Very good. Another longer track as well. Uh, this stuff, like when I first heard this. Now, like I said, I only knew like one or two singles, 4am TM, when I was young in high school, and then I actually found the 2020 reissue or remaster, about, I guess, 2-3 years ago now. Maybe it might have been 2020 actually. Pretty much brand new, because it was kind of like in the new arrival spot at the record store. So maybe it was that long ago, but I was so happy. It was $20, but man, I was like, I've been looking for this shit for like 15 years, and I have to pick it up. I don't care. I'll spend $20 now because I might never ever see it again. But so now we're moving on here. Track number 7 is kind of like that intro style song. Then you got track number 8, Light of Day. Another very good. Like I can listen to this album the whole way through, no problems at all. Track number 9, Your Love Won't Let Me Down. Really good, chunky, groovy rhythm to it. A riff. Now we go to track number 10. Another good ballad. Is it a top 25 ballad for me? Probably not, but still really good. You got Turn It On and Anna here in the elite spot, and then right below it here you have Beating Heart. Still very good ballad. And then track number 11, Summers in the Rain. Awesome. Like I said before, Joel Ellis's vocal deliveries are different throughout this album, and even with the which we will talk about in another episode, but the brand new album 2020, or not album, but like Joel Ellis put out a new the Real Heavy Bones, which are all like demos and stuff. Even on some of those, like Joel Ellis's vocals delivery is different. There was one song where I didn't even think that was Joel singing. I thought it was another guy in the band that was taking over vocal duties for the song. So like he does different things. This is perfect. When I talk about like 1992, like a lot of the great albums came out in 1991, 1992 that were different, but still like on the sleazier hair metal side of things. This is like one that I like to like show to people and be like, they were doing different things. They were growing as a subgenre. Like it wasn't all just, Poison and, Pretty Boy Floyd, that's kind of stuff, Def Leppard, like no. And then you finally, like I said, track number 12, Where the Living is Easy. Another Cats and Boots style song, I would say. But no, I mean, as my favorite tracks on here, I mean, you have to go with Anna for me. Anna is one of my favorites. I love whenever that comes on, I get down with it. Turn It On, great ballad. Like I said, a top 20 ballad for me, probably. And, the single is 4am TM, just a really good heavy riff. You can't go wrong with that. But you can't go wrong really with any of these songs. I don't want to say progressive in any term, like, because that's not that's not the right word, I would say, because it's not progressive. But they do different things in some kind of longer songs too, different arrangements, it seems like, in a couple of these songs. But it's just, if you want musical ability with your hair metal, and not just something a little more serious, Heavy Bones is where it's at, where you have to check out Heavy Bones, the debut. But that's the thing too, and it's like the cover art. Because I forgot to bring it up when we interviewed Joel here, but I love this cover art. I don't care. Like, I know a lot of people don't, and I know Joel don't, but I'm sticking by it. I like what do they call it? The Sex Monster or something? Is this little creature. But yeah, he's cool. I'm all right with it. But there's the inside of the 2020 reissue there. But guys, let me know in the comments what you think of Heavy Bones. What you think of some of these songs as well. Please go check them out. I will put the link to the description, or in the description of the Joel Ellis interview that we had. We talk Cats and Boots, we talk Heavy Bones, we talk Frankie. And then also I will put the link in as well to the Forgotten Album series, which I span from 1980 to all the way to 1995 as of now. Might go out a little bit longer, but yeah, we're still early. We have probably about 8 episodes of that so far, so yeah, definitely. And one of the episodes does include Heavy Bones, so check that out, with a couple other albums as well in that episode. But yeah, 1992 was a great year for rock and metal, specifically like hair metal, sleaze metal. But yeah, it's just a shame that this did not get any traction, especially with like Joel with Frankie at the helm, and even Gary Hoey. Like, because he had some solo stuff going on as well at the time, from my understanding. Because I do not have any of solo stuff, sadly, over there. I do need to pick up some of that. But yeah, it's just a shame. But 1992, wrong time. If this came out in 1990, you probably have some, because the final Quiet Riot album at the time was 1988 with the self-titled Quiet Riot, which was also a great album. But that 4-year span here with Frankie, or Frankie doing Heavy Bones and then Quiet Riot, then Heavy Bones. 4 years is way too long at that point. Just transition is too great at the time, and mainstream is not looking for this style of music anymore, which you obviously get here with Heavy Bones. And it's just a shame, because this could have easily gone gold during that time, if it came out a little bit earlier and there was still a market for it, and still a record company that wanted to promote. It would have sold gold. I have no doubt about that. And it has an awesome, catchy album cover. So, but now, great album though, guys. Check it out. But that wraps it up, guys. Click the subscribe button if you want to know more unknown and forgotten metal throughout all genres and eras, really, too. And also, click this video right here, and that will take you to the forgotten series in rock and metal history. So hopefully we will see you guys soon.